Well, I wanted to have a press conference at the end for a different reason than maybe I normally have a press conference at the end, and most of it is dealing with the experiences that we're all going through. When I say we're all players, coaches, media, fans, everybody. I talked to a bunch of coaches all over the country, so make sure you understand this is not Michigan State. This is not basketball. It's football. It's basketball. With kids putting their name in the portal, then getting criticized for their decisions. Um, I'm asking that we've created a bad system. We are, you can look at all of you, you can look at me, you can look at administrators, you can look at NCA. There's been a bad system created by the adults, and the players are being forced to navigate that with most of the public attention focused on the negative things of it. As I said, it's not specific to Michigan State, but it more reflects the problems we're having in everything in sports right now. Biggest concern is that these guys have had people in their ear all year long. You know, why don't I enjoy the transfer portal? Why did I speak right before the NCAA tournament? Is because I laughed when they said the portal's opening. I've told you the portal is open 24/7, 365 days a year. There's dates that somebody puts a rule out there that usually doesn't get it, you know, listened to anyway, but I'm more worried about really now, like I have my whole career, the kids. I'm asking you to ask the people that are your readers, that your listeners, and everything else. Quit the Twitter wars. You know, quit getting into these people's families' minds and what they're doing. It's not helping anybody. Spend more time maybe calling the NCAA commissioners, our government, Washington, D.C., to try to figure out how to help something that has gotten a little bit out of control. You better understand, first of all, that contrary to popular belief, because I've spoken out, I am in no way, shape, or form against players making money at all. I am been a fan of some guardrails, which is prevalent in every single job in America. You know, there is guardrails on every job. What you make, what I make, what the NBA makes, what hockey and football and everybody else makes. The system was set up without any proper guidelines. It has not helped any players make decisions. They're left to get middlemen and other people involved in their life. I don't think parents could know what they're doing because I'm on every committee known to mankind, and as a coach, I barely know what's going on. The pressure with no transparency is off the charts, guys, ladies. It's these kids are under pressure from the day the season starts with, and it's the only thing that I completely object to. That doesn't happen in, I don't think, in pro sports. This constant meddling with our players throughout the year by whoever. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I just know it's happening. It's made it hurtful and even worse, confusing for the players. I don't think I don't think every player goes in and says, you know, I want to transfer, I'm not happy. Hell, I'm not happy in a lot of things, and neither are 90% of you. The reason I'm here today is because, as I said, in all things in my career, players have come first. And I've got players that have left my program that you saw at my NCAA games. I got players that left my program that on grind week are welcome back. I've done that my entire career with every player I've coached. I'm not perfect, they're not perfect. I make mistakes, they make decisions. I hate when the decisions are sometimes, if there was any transparency, we'd be able to help them with decisions. So I'm asking you to ask our fans to quit bashing our players on social media. If they left to go to another school, if they left to go to the NBA, if they left to go to war. I don't know what the reasons would be. But the battle cry this year is to be different. That was our battle cry. So I know this is happening all over the country. Again, it's not a Michigan State issue, but I'm hoping our Michigan State fans will be different and understand they're unprecedented. These are unprecedented crazy times. It's not just a new era. It's not just every 10 years something new happens. These things, I made the comment, I don't know of many coaches that feel great every day getting up, but I don't even know of many players that do. Because I don't think they're happy if there's people in their ear that things could be better somewhere else. It's very hard when there's no transparency. I understand why fans are upset and disappointed. I've told a couple of my players, you should be happy they're upset. That means they want you, they like you, they appreciate you. You should be happy they're mad at you. I should be happy when people were mad at me when I looked at a job. You know, I understand that completely. But in this process, you don't understand that these kids are getting pressured. They're getting recruited year-long. They're getting lied to by some. And they're getting told the truth by others. But it's made it very difficult. I don't have all the answers. I'm just to tell you that right now. Now, I've tried. I have been on every committee there could be. I've tried to fight the fight and listen to students, listen to administrators, listen to different people. Unfortunately, coaches don't have much or any say in this, and I think we've done one thing that I swore I do not like to do. There is two words that I use a lot: preventative management, two phrases, and crisis management. We didn't do a very good job, in my mind, as adults, as the people that are supposed to know better. We didn't do a very good job in the preparation of this. And so now we are dealing with the crisis of it. And we can all look at it like a lot of kids are making better opportunities for themselves. And there are a lot of kids that are making worse opportunities for themselves. And as John Wooden once said, how will this turn out? How good is that player? We'll find out 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and 20 years from now. But I'm not here to argue that anymore. That train has left the station. I'm here to ask, beg, understand that the pressure on these kids is enormous. It is enormous. And I still want to have the right fit for the guys I get. I still want guys that care about culture. I still want guys that care about relationships, connectiveness. I want winning to be important. I want graduation to be important. I want a lifetime connection to this university to be important. And that's what I'm going to try to do. Those that want that, I'm hoping I get a majority of those. Those that don't, I have changed my sort of opinion, and I respect their ability to do whatever they want to do. But I'm going to look our fans in the eye and say, please, please, the Twitter wars, that I'm not on, but that I got to hear about, to me are shameful. Because you have no reason and no understanding of why a kid made a decision. I had one kid made a decision. He wants to be closer home to his family. Is that wrong? I have some kids that have made what I consider average decisions. But you or people out there have no understanding of why the decision was made. There's kids that made a decision to leave because I didn't do a good enough job. I ain't batting 1,000, guys. I mean, what I fear most is when a kid doesn't have success here, I look in the mirror and say, what didn't I do? What didn't we do? I never give up on a guy, you know that. I've kept guys that maybe I shouldn't, because I don't give up on people. But I'm not perfect either. So I'll open it up to some questions. I'll answer a couple questions. I'll even be receptive to having a round table where, unfortunately, things will be shut off, and we'll go from there. And I'll answer the best I can answer. But you're up.
Well, I mean, we talk about all the things, right? And obviously the money that comes into play is something that is different than 5 years ago, however long ago you want to look at, and the transference of it. How do you as a coach manage that when this money is coming from outside sources? Is it necessarily coming from your athletic department?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's new for all of us, and it's going to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. First of all, those of you that write or say or listen to people say, Izzo doesn't want to get in the transfer portal, Izzo doesn't want players getting paid. I mean, we're in the transfer portal. We've been in the transfer portal. We pay players, okay? A lot more than most of you know, and a lot less than what's going on out there. You know what? I don't know what you make, but you make less than somebody in New York City doing the same job probably. I don't know. So that is the thing we battle every day. The problem there is because of us. Anytime I say us in this conversation, I'm saying the adults, not insinuating players aren't adults. The postgraduate human beings that are dealing with this problem. And we didn't do the job, so there's no transparency. If I told you tomorrow you could have the exact same job in Iron Mountain, Michigan, making $200,000 more, you'd go in a heartbeat. No insult to you, but you would. Now, the problem is if it's only a 1-year job or 2-year, and then you got to, and that's what these kids have to deal with. And everybody says, well, get this while you can, get that while you can. Man, when players that 10, 15 years ago left my program, the few that I've had, and then come back, it must have told you that wherever they went, it wasn't as good as where they are. And again, we're not perfect, but the thought of a kid ever leaving here and me not caring about the kid, every kid that left here this year, some I knew were leaving, some I was a little surprised, but every kid that left, I'm still going to support. Call AJ. Call him. Supported him in the tournament game. I think you'd be surprised as you find out what different kids are like when they leave, how we're going to continue to move forward. That's the adults. We have judges, we have lawyers, we have congressmen that are trying to work on this to figure it out. We've lost some good coaches. I think some good players have made bad decisions, and some players have made phenomenal decisions. That's the 50-50 chance. But what I'm trying to say to you is I look at this as I think it lasts more than a year or two. And I'm not sure at 18 I would have thought that way. And That's why I think there's going to be more mistakes than there are good, because what we did, paying players, would be great. What we did, having a transfer portal, I don't think you should ever just be able to get out of what you're doing like that. But if that's good, that's great. But recruiting players all year long, and that is happening everywhere. I mean, we saw what happened the other day at Tennessee. You know, maybe that's just the way it's going to be. And if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. I just want people to know it's not as easy as they think. Not as easy for the coaches, and definitely not as easy for the players. As some of my colleagues out there in media say, the coaches make a lot of money and they should be able to deal with that. You know what? I'm cool with that. And I am dealing with it. The players, they're dealing with stuff that's going to change their life. And those are lifetime decisions. And it's hard to make them. You know, we talk a lot about speed dating. You know, I mean, there's not many people in this room that would date a girl for a week and marry her, or date a guy for a week and marry him. There's not many in this room that would do that. But we're asked to do it, and our players are asked to do it right now. And so, you know, hell, it'd take me 2 months to take some girl home and introduce them to my mom. Now I got to do it in 24 hours. Different. I'm not complaining. Don't feel sorry for me. I went off before. I still feel a lot like I felt. I do not think the system is very good. I do not like no transparency. One area that me and the media are alike. I hope there's not many areas like that, but that is one area that we're both on the exact same page. You want transparency? I'd love to have transparency. I would like it like the NFL, NBA. But I don't know what those unintended consequences do to a university. And so I can't be an expert. I just got to try to do my job, but I am going to protect. So if you want to know about players that have left, players that have discussions with everybody, and I am going to try to protect all of them. I hate Twitter, so I don't think I'll be getting any NIL deals with Twitter, okay? I really don't give a damn. I think it's disgusting what they do to these human beings. And I just want us to be different at Michigan State. If we can't be, that's your prerogative, but I'm going to be.
I'm not to open a new can of worms, obviously, to still coach at your age. You have a passion for this, over all of this.
You think?
Well, it's a pretty brilliant statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
My question,
Judd would say you have a wonderful sense for the obvious, Fred.
Thanks, Judd. My question is, with all of these factors that are out of your control and so many colleagues and friends that have stepped away from it, what keeps you at it?
Just what you started out with. I still have a passion. I still have energy. I still want to make a difference. I still want to help kids live their dream that I got to live mine. All the right reasons. I gave in last year to begging the committees and trying to focus in on, you know, then it hits you again. I mean, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. But it hasn't gotten so bad where I'm ready to give in to what a lot of people think I should give in to. I'm not. I'm still fist fighting the fight, and I think I want to bring up, because so many people died in a war, but like some wars we've been in, I think I struggle sometimes to figure out who am I fighting, where am I fighting, and for what reason am I fighting. That's hard. You know, I'm jumping in on anything I can jump in on if it helps, but I'm not sure I understand that. So I've eliminated some of them, and I'm just trying to stay focused. I got 8 kids back of my scholarship guys that I had 11, 12, and I feel fortunate with that. I love the guys I got. I appreciate what the guys that are leaving have done. And hell, we were sitting at a press conference last fall, and wondering if we were going to even make the NCAA tournament. And we won the Big Ten by 3 games. I don't know. I'm still here, Fred. I got to put up with me, and I got to put up with you, and you got to put up with me. And I guess it would be like your industry has gone through a lot of changes too. Why the hell are you still here? You got a passion for it. That's how you started out, and that's what I say. And you know what? I get to do something that few people get to do. I get to be in a locker room when a guy is crying. That's supposed to be this mountain of a man, and he's crying because he just lost an Elite Eight game. And I've gotten a chance to sit in the green room and watch a kid fulfill a lifetime dream of getting to the NBA and watching his family and his world change. And I keep thinking to myself, you know, living your dream. So I'm still living the dream. Is it a little bit foggy? Hell yeah, it is. Is it a little bit harder to navigate? Hell yeah, it is. So what do? I call Jonathan, I call Adam, I call different coaches. I call coaches again all over the country that I don't even know, just to get a feel, just to get some information, just to get some help. How are you dealing with it? What are you doing better? When I quit doing that, I'll probably hang it up, but I got no interest in hanging it up when I still have the passion, the love for the game. And I've said this, I absolutely love my day-to-day dealings with my players. I love my job. I love the university I work for. I have not respected my profession as much because I don't think we've done a good enough job of helping our people navigate these problems. And we cause some of the problems in certain ways too. So that's my take on that.
Tom, Monday, you were celebrating your student athletes. You weren't able to make it down to Detroit to the Horatio Williams Foundation Clinic, but you sent some heartfelt messages, 7 minutes, went over very well. What was it like talking to your tribe, talking to those high school coaches, having that time to prepare and talk about NIL, the portal, mental health, and mentorship? What was that like for you to be able to share that kind of information?
Well, first of all, I love Horatio. He's tried to do so much down in Detroit, and I learned early in my career I love the high school coaches. I mean, those guys do so much for those kids and make no money. They make no money. And they do a lot for those kids. They bring them up here. They probably bring them to Michigan or Western or Eastern or Central or Oakland. You know, they do a lot for those kids. And I have gotten down to Horatio's event, and I think it is really good. And I sent a quick, you know, I had some questions that he wanted, and I tried to do a decent job. I don't know how it came out, but I tried to talk from my heart. I tried to talk from understanding high schools now are going through NIL. High schools now are going through the transfer portal. High schools now are going through a lot of new people getting involved in their business. And maybe some of it's good, but, you know, if you haven't been in a practice, if you haven't been in a locker room, if you haven't seen how a kid reacts, if you haven't seen what a kid's gone through, it's hard to condemn the decisions they make or the decisions I make. I swear we got one of the only professions that you can be in anybody and be better than a coach. You know, I keep saying, I don't ever, I never try to write your articles. Once in a while I'll call one of you if I think you're way off, but I never try to write it. I'd probably misspell half the words. I never try to run the cyclotron division over here. I never try to run the business school. But I swear to God, every one of them know how to coach. And this is a unique profession too, because we're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds that we're trying to help them make decisions and get better and improve. Not that a teacher isn't, but ours is so public, everybody sees it. And I don't know many people that I hear complaining about the math teacher that guy didn't get through the math class properly or didn't get the highest grade. I don't see that in any of your articles. Ours is a unique profession. I mean, today, I don't know what it's like over at Jonathan's. I'm afraid to call him because the portal opened. You know, that's like, just think what we're saying. The portal opened, you know, like, I know how he felt 2 days ago. I'll bet anybody in this room, he along with, I don't know how many there are, 130, 140 football coaches in the BCS around the country. I'd be willing to bet you right now nobody slept last night. And that's okay. As some of my colleagues or your colleagues say, we get paid for those pressures and those things. I'm taking that now. I'm believing you. I just hope you understand the kids are not winning out on all these. They are not winning out on all these. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. The day I quit believing it, Fred, and I quit fighting it, I'm done. Until then, I'm going to try to do a better job of helping them on the front end and realizing that every place isn't for everybody. And if a kid leaves just because maybe he doesn't like the coach, you know what? I understand that. I'm a little nervous that I think you're going to find more coaches. They're going to get rid of guys because they're going to figure it the other way. You know, if it's going to get like the pro thing, and let's not try to make you better. Let's get rid of you. Let's go get another guy that's better than you. And I just think that's going to lead to a chaotic situation that I don't feel good about.
Tom, I wonder, excuse me, could you sort of, Trey, Garrick, and Xavier, one by one, I guess, could you just sort of explain how it was communicated to you in terms of why they decided to enter the portal and your reaction to each of them or level of surprise or something along those lines of each?
Yeah, you know, I kind of hate to do it, but I will do it a little bit here. It was nothing bad. I mean, I thought that Garrick was almost homesick the day he got here. And this year, I really planned on him playing. Then he got injured, and you're away from home. And he worked his tail off all year. He was on that scout team. He did a phenomenal job. He got a lot better as a basketball player. You know, but there's so many things you don't know either, because you get people telling you you should transfer. I mean, that is going on minutely. But you also, who knew what other guys would do? Who knew what Trey would do? Who know that Jace would get good enough to do what he can do? You don't know that thing as the year. There's so many things that play a role, but his wants to get closer to home 100%. Book, in Book, make sure you take this right now. I failed. I love Book. The day he came in with his family was a very difficult day for all of us. And we made him stronger. As a student athlete, he's done an unbelievable job. I couldn't get enough out of him. That's not all his fault. That's my job. I do get paid for that. And I did not get enough out of him. And so we talked, you know, during the year. I mean, I talked to Book a zillion times. And it was all, for the most part, positive. And I feel bad about Book because I think deep down there is one hell of a basketball player in there. And my job is to get that out of him. And I didn't get that done. So I have to take responsibility for it too. If I asked Book to be here morning, noon, and night, Book was here morning, noon, and night. I asked him to improve academically, with his strength, with this, with that. Book did it all. It just didn't translate into some things, and that's my job. So in Book, it was no problem either. I mean, it was talked about. Opinions were made that were all, I think, on the same page. In Trey, I was surprised. It was a little bit of a surprise. But Trey wanted some things too. Wanted to play certain position, wanted to do certain things. We can't be ripping Trey, and I've talked to some of you about, then moms get involved and dads get involved and things happen. Nobody knows anything. Nobody really ever asked me before today. I don't know if you asked Trey. We just rip him. And I think that was ridiculous. I think there was a lot more to it all the time. But what I do want to say is I also know, positively know, that people are talking to people all year long. If that happens on my staff, people will be gone. But it's not only staffs. It's the fact that we've opened it up to what we call NIL agents, which are non-certified. Some are good, and some are not good. But when you're trying to play in a season and people are in your ear, it'd be like you guys trying to write and make decisions on other things. It's very difficult. So was I as happy that Trey left? Was I surprised? I was. But would anything surprise me right now? No. I mean, I go home and check to see if my kids were in the transfer portal. Thank God they haven't gone yet. Would anything surprise me? It wouldn't. It's not funny either. Nothing would surprise me. But I just think that in that case, I completely understood two of them. The third one I didn't understand as much, but I respected. I talked to him. He talked to me. We went over it. And that's kind of the way it is. And just like I did with every player that looked to go pro, whether it be Jace, whether it be guys throughout the years. I mean, when people think we don't talk to our guys or we don't spend time with them, or they don't just come in and they don't just go to the portal and leave. I mean, I will do this very respectfully. Every one of those players came in and talked to me before they did that. I talked to a lot of coaches. They find out from you guys that a kid went in the portal. That did not happen with any of our guys. Every one of our guys came in, talked to me about it, and that was it. And some of them I encouraged one way or another. Some of them I tried to talk to about it. And for all of them, there's usually a variety of reasons. It's not usually one reason. The only thing that I struggle with is I don't know how many of their parents, your parents, could handle the barrage that I think these kids are getting, and I know in some cases, throughout the year, and still try to perform at this level. It's very, very, very difficult to do. And for that, I feel bad for the student athlete. I don't feel mad at the student athlete. I feel bad for him.
Tom, excuse me. When you stand here and you talk about judges and lawyers and politicians being involved in the changes, what does that say about the state of the NCAA, that that's where you have to sort of draw solutions? And I'm also curious what conversations have been had that you're privy of at the NCAA level to change some of these things.
Once in a while, now I have to be a little careful. I was on the National Basketball Coaches Association for 20 years, I think. I felt like I put in my time with a couple other guys that we really spent extra time over the maybe 8 years that you're normally on it. And I think that I don't think there was a great job done. But I'm not there on a daily basis either. So it's hard to throw stones at something that I don't know what went on there over the years. I don't know who put their head in the sand. I don't know who didn't do their job. And I don't know if it was inevitable and it just the way it worked. I really don't know that. I just know that there wasn't enough conversation about these things, in my humble opinion. So I can't condemn or condone. I just, like everything else, you see the end results, and somebody, I think, semi-dropped the ball. Could have been me. Could have been us coaches. Could have been the coaches in the meeting. It could have been administrators. Could have been NCA. Could have been our government. I don't know. But I just know this. When you're in a profession and a large majority of your profession, I don't say my profession's a basketball coach. I look at it more, my profession is coaching, teaching. That's what my profession is. And I can't find a lot of people that think this is really good. Then it's probably not really good. I wish I was good enough, smart enough, big enough that I could figure out the problems. Because I can't. I don't have the answers. I just have the answers for what I need here. I don't have the answers what would be best. And I can only talk to my players morning, noon, and night. I can talk to them about what I think the value of an education is, the value at playing at a place like Michigan State is, the value of how that is going to help you for 50, 60 years and not just 1 or 2 years. That's all I can do. And if that ever changes where nobody's listening, then I'll join Fred. And if it does change, then I'll be happy I stayed in it and helped thousands and thousands of kids.
Tom, you mentioned Jace. Obviously, didn't expect that out of him this season. I guess, what were the conversations like before he made his decision? And I assume that he's closed the door and coming back. How do you replace that level of...
Yeah, I don't know if he's closed any door, but I'll be very honest with you. That was fun. That was awesome. You watch a kid come and just go through the process and, grow and perform and, easy to talk to his family because of the relationship. I'm the one that a month before the season told him he should put his name in because I think he can be ready to play. I think it all depends on, what's out there. And I thought from what I saw from other players that I'm hearing other things about. And then I have a lot of people in the NBA now. I mean, a lot of people. I don't have a few anymore. I have a lot of people. And was I almost surprised at some of the numbers I was hearing and where he would go? I guess a little bit. But once I realized that, he was one kid I did not feel sad at all. I said to myself, wow, he's, just think the privilege I've had. I had his father who won a national championship and 2 Big Ten championships, and his son who won a Big Ten championship and played in the Elite Eight. and they both get to fulfill their dream of going to the NBA. I mean, that is all good. There is nothing. And if anybody out there says something about that, I'm just telling you, it's all good. And it's, listen, if the rules were like football and the kid had to stay 3 years, he'd have stayed 3 years. If they were like some other sport that maybe 2 years, he'd have stayed 2 years. But in this sport, you know, you have to wait. Thank God his father has been in it and is well respected. Thank God I've had enough people around the league that are telling me where they think he's going to go. And if he goes anywhere near where he thinks he's going to go, I'm packing the suitcase. You know, and I think it's great. And once he interviews, he's going to move up. Wherever he is, he's going to move up. And so that part is all good, all good.
You're not planning on him pulling his name out to come back or anything like that, right?
Well, maybe if I fly out there, get on my hands and knees and beg him. I'm planning on doing whatever, seriously. This is the other hard part about the new job. You know, like everybody, you know, like when you guys asked me the question and somehow we got cut up on the portal day right before the tournament. The problem is, you know, unless you're messing with people, how do you know who's transferring? Now, we can sit here and say, well, you're naive. I'm not naive. I'm not naive. I'm really not. And I'm not old school. I'm really not. I just think there's a process. There's a right way to do things. And I'm going to do them the right way. If that doesn't work out, you know, I'm cool with that. But in Jace's case, he's going to work out now. He's doing well in his first couple of workouts. I want to fly out and see him for support, I want to see how he's doing. I want to talk to people that I might need to talk to help him. So I am going to go out to California, and we'll see how his process goes. I mean, I can only go by what the people that really matter think, and that's the 30 NBA teams. And so I got, you know, there's disappointment in not being able to do a good enough job to help a kid fulfill his dream. What I said about book, I'm disappointed in myself. I'm excited on the other side. So that keeps me at least, it doesn't keep me level now. You can't be level this day and age, but it keeps me from falling over. So it's good. It's good.
Tom, what's your sense? I mean, you've had these conversations sort of escalating throughout different years. I wonder what's your sense from the player perspective on how much appetite there is from them for something different than exists today. Is there an appetite at all for structure, or just from your conversations with them, just something different in this whole, you know, system that exists, or is that something that each of them are sort of in their own world and not thinking about as much?
Well, let's think about your world. Would you like to have a job where there are no rules? Or would you like to have a job where there are rules? Think about it now. Don't just say, I want rules. I'm not talking about your kid. I'm talking about you. Would you like to come in when you want? Or would you like to go where you want? Would you like to make what you want? Think about your rules. If that was afforded to you, would you say, thanks, boss. I'd rather work 8 to 8, and I'd rather make, you know, $25,000. Appreciate you giving me a monster raise and letting me do what I want, but I'd rather that. You wouldn't do that in one damn minute. And we have done that to 18-year-olds. I guess some would say we're giving them an option. You know, what is going to happen? Are we going to end up with the NBA, NFL, or are they going to become employees, just remember this word. I've used it a lot in the last 4 years. There will be more unintended consequences. If it was all great, we would have already done it. And sooner or later, it could get to that so that there's some control. When there's some control, there'll be more rules, as there are in those leagues. So people have told me my whole life, watch what you wish for. I don't have the answer. I don't know.
2,000 in the portal, they must love it.
Yeah, and last year there'll be more than that. And when there are, last year some didn't even find a scholarship. But a lot of them found scholarships in places they didn't want to go. You know? And, I have a different perspective on life, Like, I can't stand online classes. Okay, that's me, let me open up. I think 3/4 of college is going to class, sitting by somebody, meeting a friend. That's what college is all about, and that's changed too. So I don't think it's old school, so please don't say that, because that does tick me off. They have the right to believe what they want. I have the right to believe what I want. But I'm going to tell you something. Sooner or later in life, you're going to need your buddies. Sooner or later in life, you're going to need your friends. I am worried about mental health. I am worried about when I meet with people and they tell me what an average person is making in some very, very, very good jobs right now. I'm worried about what these players are going to do in a year or two when they've got to go to them, because, as we know, 96% of them will never play basketball again. 98% of them will never play football again. I am worried about it. If I'm wrong, that's a good thing. That is a really good thing if I'm wrong. But if I'm right, that's sad. That's the way I look at it.
Can there be any change until there's some, I don't know, the players are part of that negotiation is what I'm saying, until there's some sort of.
Players aren't part of that negotiation now. They can, the agents and everybody are part of the negotiation, maybe. I mean, they're the ones that drive it. But I don't think the players are part of the negotiation until we get collective bargaining and we do what the NFL and NBA and everybody else has done. But I'm not smart enough to know those things. I'm really not. I just know that would be one way to put some kind of, I mean, how do I say this without getting myself in trouble? Should we have professional basketball, professional football, professional hockey, as an example, and there's a guy can only make so much money, and yet in college sports, there is no limit? Does that make sense? Is that being old school? Or is that just common sense? I don't know what the number should be. I think there's people out there that think pretty soon these universities, this is going to be, it's not even going to be Michigan State University, it's going to be the name of a bank. And down in Ann Arbor, it'll be the name of a different bank. And then, because I think people think these are banks and they just produce money, or maybe, I don't think it works that way. I know certain one of you guys know I make a lot of money. I understand that. With a lot of money goes a lot of problems. So I've taken a different outlook. I'm not petitioning on my board anymore. I'm not fighting for those things. I'm just going to try to do the best job I can do of educating the people I have that money isn't everything. It isn't. It's easy to say when you make a lot of money. But but I've been offered a lot more money than I make here. Money isn't everything. I think we look at short term more than long term because there is no process. I think we need to look at the process. And, but if people don't wanna, I'm okay with it now. I'm still gonna win. I'm still gonna get good players. I'm still gonna get players that believe on. I'm gonna pay players as much as I can pay them. I'm gonna play them as much as I can play them. I'm gonna try to do all the things that I can do to give them a chance to live their dream. Their dream isn't to make $500,000. Their dream is to someday play in the NBA or NFL and someday make generational money. That's the dream. That's the goal. At least most of the guys I talked to helped their families do this. Didn't say anything about it immediately. I mean, I think we are in a society of what did you do for me today? I think that's going to hurt a little bit. But if that's the way it is, I'm cool with it. I really am. So don't leave here. What I hope you take away from today is, I don't want to hear Izzo doesn't believe in paying players. Done it for every time it's been here. Izzo doesn't believe in the transfer portal. I don't believe that we should give everybody the freedom to just never fight through adversity. But I'll even go with the transfer portal. I'll go with that. Is there any way we can keep people from getting to our kids all year long? I bet you if you asked every coach in America, that's it. At the end of the year, fair, book comes in, coach, hey, you know what, book? I let you down a little bit. You probably got to do a few different things. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm here for you. If you're at UCLA or if you're at Timbuktu, you know what? I'm always here for you. And God, I love that girl. She just doesn't care. But I believe that, I really do. So a couple more and I'm about done.
Yeah. Tom, if we all agree that the system is either broken or has some serious cracks.
Do we?
I think we do. We all agree there are problems, right? Anyone that thinks this system's perfect? No. So you've been doing
You
this.
didn't answer.
You've been doing this 2/3 of your life. If anyone has some ideas on it, it would be you. Let's talk about solutions for 1 second. If there were 2 or 3 things you would suggest that could maybe make improvements, get it back on track, what would you do if you had the power to do it? And if nothing happens, where are we headed?
That's such a damn good question. That's loaded from one side to the other. And I can't give you a good answer because every answer I've tried to come up with, see, I've been on those boards for 20 years. We've dealt with this for probably 6. It's been in existence for probably 4. So we've already tried to hammer that out and think about how could we do it, what's fair for this, what's fair for that. And I don't know. I wish a couple of things that I could say. I wish there was total transparency. Because it'd be nice to know if a kid gets offered this from Michigan State, and I was working at Northern Michigan, what would I have to pay him? It would be nice to know some of those things. Transparency, because I think there's a lot of BS going on out there. I wish that coaches would respect each other a little bit more than I think we do. And that if it is coaches, and there are some, assistant coaches that work with people that are getting to these kids so early. I mean, you know what? I don't have a problem. If that kid doesn't want to be here, I mean, I'll tell you what I told my team before the Big Ten tournament, because we all knew the transfer portal was opening. Like, that's a big deal. It's a big deal to you guys. It really meant nothing to me. I don't even think it means anything when it closes to me. Because I think, hell, it's been proven you can do what you want, when you want, where you want, and why you want. But I told him, you don't want to be here? Come on and tell me. Tell me where you'd like to go. You like Hawaiian music? I'll call the guy at Hawaii for you. I'll get you wherever you want to go. And I swear to you, I would do that for any player I got. So I think it's very difficult for a player to be hearing from people what they can do for him financially, or I can get you to throw, I mean, this is a good one. I can get you to throw for 50 passes a game. You can run for 200 yards a game. I mean, half the teams out there in college basketball have 8 or 9 guys they're trying to get through the portal. They don't even know who's on the team. How are they telling a kid what he's going to get to do? I don't get that. If I'm missing something, I hope somebody calls me. But, so I think transparency and, you know, let's make the portal the opening of the portal. Let's have a parade. Let's have balloons. Let's make it a big deal. And we know that's the day you can start talking to kids. That way, I'd be cool with that.
If we don't have transparency and the coaches do not have some sort of consensus of how they're going to do it, 5 years from now, if you're still standing there and we're all here, what would we be talking about?
I don't know, you know, because I've been here a long time doesn't mean I have all the answers to things. And because I've been here a long time, I can't look into the future and see. I really have no idea. And what I did a poor job of for a few years, so everybody knows, because I admitted I didn't do a good enough job with a couple guys. But what I did for some of those years is spent maybe too much time, too much energy worrying about things that I thought I could control. No, I thought I could help fix. Can't control nothing. Thought I could help fix. And by being on those committees, realized I have no say and no chance. So WWT, you know, as Judd would say, why waste time? And so I did a better job of not complaining about it I went off a little bit because, you know, listen, I'm never on Twitter. Sorry for whoever runs Twitter. Like I said, I give up my NIL. But everybody tells me what's on Twitter. And so I hear fans are mad that we're not in the portal when I got a national championship to try to run. I understand that. I understand some guys are doing both. I understand that. I'm not good enough to do both. I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough to figure out who's leaving where before they put their name in. And so I said, let's keep our ears open for things. Let's look at things, but let's spend 90% of the time giving our players, our parents, our fans, even, I think I said our media, but even our media, a chance to really accomplish something that you only get a few times in your life. You're a number 2 seed. That means whether we think we're that good or not, we got a legitimate chance. And I had people out there mad at me for not being on Twitter. I mean, in the portal. Sorry.
We've talked so much about the exit part of all of this, but the retention part of it is probably for your future equally as important. I'm wondering about how much you had to do between the end of the season and keeping some guys, But in particular, the guys like Kurtang and Jesse, younger guys that that kind of fit the mold of the future, kind of how you've always done it, where guys build up to that point. How that process has maybe changed with those guys, and then also guys like Cohen and Jackson and all the guys you want to come back.
Yeah, I want them all back. I mean, I want my guys back. There's no, and they're not all perfect either. You know, they're not finished products. But I do want my guys back because I like my team. I like my guys. I like what they did for me, and I like what they did for us. And but that work is all year long. See, I know there's people tampering with people. I don't know. I mean, you know, like in the NFL, that's an easy, I mean, not easy, but that's a fixable problem. For some reason, it's not a fixable problem to us. Tampering is, you lose draft picks, you lose things. I mean, so all year long, I'm talking to Kerr. We're talking to Kerr. We're talking to Jess. We're talking to parents. We're talking, you know, but if the day comes when we're begging, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. There is a value, you know, everybody's worried about their brand. I mean, that is a big thing now, my brand. You know, it's all I hear about is my brand. Let me tell you something. This is a damn good brand that's been tested over time. It's a damn good brand. And some that have left the brand, not the team, not the program, the brand, have come back. And maybe it's taken 5 years, maybe it's taken 10 years. Why do they come back? I love the brand. I never left here because of the brand. I think it can help a lot of people be successful. If there's a better brand that can help them, if there's a better coach that's going to spend more time with them, do a better job with them, get them more minutes or jump shots or touchdown passes or whatever, that you got to do what you got to do. But just remember, this is a competitive world. And if you're not quite good enough here to maybe get some of those things, how about rolling up your sleeves and going to work? Because you're going to have to do that wherever you go if you're going to accomplish your ultimate goals. And that's kind of the way I look at it. So guys, it's been a interesting couple of years, and it's been new, it's been different. And I've talked to young guys, I've talked to guys, a couple of them just recently, a lot older than me. And everybody's confused, so it's not old school. It's trying to figure out what's best for the student athlete. And trust me when I say that here at Michigan State with our brand, that is my number one priority. And if anybody wants to challenge me on that, that is worth a fist fight. That one is worth the fight. Nothing else is, but that is worth the fight. And there's guys that like you when you leave. There's parents that like you. There's parents that are mad at you. There's players that like you. There's players that are mad at you. It's not when they leave that matters. It's when they get off in the real world, have kids, do things, figure out things. Do they use what you told them? You know, I'll end it on this. Juddisms. So when I got the job, I told my secretary, Lori, who was Judd's secretary for 20 years, you know, we're going to do things, but we're going to change a few things around here, you know. I'm the boss now, right? And I went a couple of years, you know, thought I was going to get fired. And I started figuring out why Jed was friends with most of you. So I maintained that. I had you to dinner at my house one time. I don't know how many were there. A couple of you old school guys were there. And I learned. And then as 5, 6 years went by and we had some success, I'd walk into my office and I'd say, hey, Lori, now I know why Jed did that. Damn it. You know, I'm going to do some of the same things. Did I tweak my stuff? I tweaked it. Did I change? I changed it. I've got to change every era. As I said, fat ties, skinny ties. You know, I got to change every 6, 7, 8 years. You got to make adjustments. But if you ever change what you believe in, you're going to get up every morning to brush your teeth. At least I do. And you're look in that mirror. If you don't like that person looking back at you, you went too far. Right now, I don't like the looks of that person, but I like the person. And I'm gonna stick with that, and I'm gonna find a way to work harder. I told my staff, hang on to your, you know what, because we're gonna work harder, because we're gonna make sure that more and more kids we make successful, because this brand is gonna be worth something to them in the years to come, and that's what I plan on doing. So please take this. I stayed a little longer than I was gonna have that, but I answered questions up here. I don't have all the answers. I am not against anything except people interfering with our players, people recruiting them right off your team, which is happening a lot. I'm against that. With the confusing part for a player, but I am conscious to say that, what are they going through? I'm not 20 anymore, but neither are you. What are they going through? So I'm blaming more of this on, as I say, the adults than I am on the players. Because I absolutely love my players. I feel good about my players. I don't necessarily feel good about some of the outside world. I've tried to minimize that. It's been okay. And we'll see what happens. But don't need anybody feeling sorry for me. I got the job. Hey, this is my dream job. I never left it. I had many chances. I could have gone in the portal. I didn't go in the portal. I like where I'm at. And I don't have to be here, as Tom says. Sent it to me today. Remember, Coach, you get to be there. I do. And if more people would look at their jobs that way, I think we'd have better success. Have a good day. Thank you, guys.